There are many ways to enter the new year. You might look back and say, good riddance, 2022, or 2022, you were a good year. May the blessings continue. You might look forward and say, hello, 2023, I'm excited to see what unfolds. You might look forward to some anticipated change or milestone in the new year, a birth, marriage, retirement, graduation, career change, something of this sort. Some people run away from the old year and into the new. They can't cross that threshold fast enough. Like the poet Lucille Clifton wrote, I am running into a new year, and the old years blow back like a wind that I catch in my hair, like strong fingers, like all my old promises. And it will be hard to let go of what I said to myself about myself when I was 16 and 26 and 36, even 36. But I am running into a new year, and I beg what I love and I leave to forgive me. I'm struck by the image of the old years blowing back like a wind, like strong fingers, like old promises, getting caught in our hair and clinging to us. Do you know what that feels like? Some people run across the line from one year to the next, but others pause at the threshold to discern and reflect. However you enter the new year, there is almost always a process of letting go and setting intentions, of leaving behind and making plans, of dropping or throwing or releasing something old and embracing something new. This is what we are here to do today. This month in worship, Reverend Daniel, Reverend TJ, and I are bringing to you a spiritual practice that our church has learned from our Love Beyond Belief work. It is called Pause, Discern, Reflect. This practice changes our connection to ourselves, to others, and to the holy because it invites us to notice, acknowledge, remember, and reflect on the spiritual experiences of our lives. We all have spiritual experiences and these moments, but we don't always recognize them as such or remember them. When we pause, disconnecting from the frenzy to be present to ourselves, to sense our connection to the interdependent web, and to feel the love that is holding us, it allows us to enter this spiritual practice. So I invite you to pause today, because this is how we reset. And I invite you to let go today, because this is how we become free. Perhaps you've heard the Zen Buddhist story of two monks and a woman at a river. The senior monk and a junior monk were traveling together when they came to a river with a very strong current. As they prepared to carefully cross the river, they saw a young woman also attempting to cross. And the young woman asked if they could help her get to the other side. The two monks glanced at each other because they had taken vows, monastic vows, not to touch a woman. How could they help her across without touching her? Then, without a word, the older monk picked up the woman, carried her across the river, gently placed her on the other side, and continued on with his journey. The younger monk couldn't believe what had just happened. After crossing by himself and catching up with his companion, he was speechless, and an hour passed without a word between them. 2 more hours passed, and then 3. And finally, the younger monk couldn't contain himself anymore, and he blurted out, "As monks, we are not permitted to touch women. How could you carry that woman on your shoulders?" The older monk looked at him and replied, "Brother, I set her down on the other side of the river. Why are you still carrying her?" This Zen story has a simple lesson. We often carry around past hurts and resentments, but the only person being burdened is ourselves. For 3 hours, the young monk was appalled by his elder's behavior, bursting with worry and judgment, but he said nothing. He held on to it. The elder monk carried on, but the younger monk couldn't let go of what had happened. Sometimes it's hard to know when to let go of something. It starts very early in our lives with pacifiers and pull-ups, then toys and books that we've outgrown, and then that outfit that doesn't fit anymore, or that memento that reminds you of a past relationship that ended badly. How do we know when is the right time? Other times, it is very clear that we need to let go. In fact, we yearn to do so. If we're really honest with ourselves, we all have these things that we have been carrying from the past year that we wish we could set down. Stories that get in the way of living life to its fullest, habits that we wish to retire, experiences that we need to leave in the past in order to move forward on the journey that we want to take this year. This is our service of renewal, fondly known as the burning service, a treasured annual ritual and a way that we mark the passing of time and the beginning of the new year with intention. Our time together here is a chance for us to live our covenant, to accompany one another through life's joys and sorrows and spiritual growth in community. You are invited to let go of the experiences, the habits, the stories, and the things in life that you want to leave in the old year. You are also invited tangibly to let go of pieces of paper with these things of life written on them. The ritual of burning these pieces of paper, like the ritual in our reading this morning of throwing stones, does something powerful, not only for our minds, but for our bodies. Why, the author of the reading asks her friend when she suggests this practice of gathering and releasing stones. Her friend responds, because the mind needs concrete evidence to rearrange its patterns, and the emotions need motion in order to do the same. Letting go is an act of faith, of openness or trust. The British writer Alan Watts describes it like this. He says, to have faith is like when you trust yourself to water. You don't grab hold of the water when you swim, because if you do, you will become stiff and tight in the water and sink. You have to relax. And the attitude of faith is the very opposite of clinging and holding on. Just as we can't cling to water, but have to let go of it, burning the things that we want to let go of, immersing them in the fire, is letting the divine hold all that is our life, the good and the bad, the things that we want to leave behind, but which remain part of the universe even after we have set them down and we no longer feel their weight. So I want to invite you now to pause and to listen to your body. You may also hear a gurgling stomach or someone clearing their throat or the cry of a child or noises of traffic outside, and all of that is okay. But pause with me and listen to your body and to the experiences that your body is carrying. What are you feeling? And what feels heavy? And what are you ready to set down? Close your eyes if that helps you to listen, and let's pause together for a minute. In this pause, were you able to identify something that you wish to release? What does it feel like to get that clarity or to make that choice? Now, I invite you to find that piece of paper that you received when you came into the sanctuary today. If you did not get a slip of paper when you came in and you need one, you can raise your hand and an usher will bring one to you. And if you're joining us online, I hope you'll find a piece of paper, even just a scrap or a Post-it note or a paper napkin, whatever is nearby. Keep your hand raised if you need one. And now is the time to write on that paper. It's not very big, so just a word or a few words about what you want to let go. And as you write, feel the weight of what has been holding you back in your body and in your spirit, and the feeling of letting it go, even just in the act of writing. There are little pencils in the back of the pews, in the pew racks, if you need one there. Let's pause for a minute to write and reflect. We're crossing the river and getting very close to the other side. It's almost time to put down what we are carrying completely by releasing it to the fire. We burn these things from the past year so that, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, they might protect us, free us, and fuel the flourishing of the year ahead. The phoenix bird is a symbol in mythology, going back to ancient Greece and Egypt, but it reappears in our culture today in many places. I would bet that the most common place that this gathered community has encountered it is in the Harry Potter series. Dumbledore's companion, the phoenix named Fawkes, ages, dies in a burst of fire, and rises again from its ashes, once right in front of Harry's eyes, being reborn as an adorable newborn version of itself. Fascinating creatures, phoenixes, says Dumbledore. They can carry immensely heavy loads. Their tears have healing powers, and they make highly faithful pets. So when you place your piece of paper in the fire today, imagine what kind of phoenix might be rising from the flames. How will this phoenix be your trusty companion in the days ahead? How can the ashes of the past year bring healing and wholeness to your life and to the life of this community? May what you burn here today cease to trouble you, and may it free you, leaving you relieved and renewed for the year ahead. May it be so, and amen.